The PoPolitickin show is brought to you by Audible. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, Audible is great for any continuous learner wanting to grow and expand their knowledge and insight. Go to www.audibletrial.com/POAudio and get an audiobook of your choice free with a 30-day trial. After the trial, your paid membership will begin at $14.95 per month. With your membership, you will receive 1 credit every month, good for an audiobook on Audible. Cancel before your trial ends and you will not be charged. So go to www.audibletrial.com/POAudio and download a free book by Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Napoleon Hill, Les Brown, Damon John, and more. Always remember that knowledge is power.
PoPolitickin.com.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Cool Nutz representing Northeast Portland, and I'm chilling on PoPolitickin right now. And you better tune in, suckers.
Bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang,
See the big boys coming, growl of the tailpipe, futuristic shit, the halogen headlight, slap on enormous, passenger gorgeous, old school shit, fuck the Mozzie and the Porsche, gorilla in the trunk, it sound like Silverback, Cutlass, Skylark, I'm bringing that Zapco back, you can feel that monster slap, a nigga earning in the monster trap. The money talk like the gang signs. The realest niggas really runs in my bloodline. You see the chrome and the wet paint. We stupid stunting so the bitches really feel faint. OG Kush, my niggas smoke the finest dank and never starving. We dining on the finest plates. A turkey leg and the gravy spread and stupid slap. It really might wake the dead.
Yeah, you know you hear nigga. Bass beating like a motherfucker. Pull up, I know you see a nigga. All them niggas be scheming like a motherfucker. Yeah, you know I got it, nigga. They know my shit slap when I'm mob out. We still the hottest, nigga. My bass on hit as soon as I ride out.
Bass on blast, tweeters on tilt, treble on rebel, I'm fucking them like Will. Got that 89 Quake and my Delta 88 with them 6s on my wheels and it's a Fabby on the plate. And you know it's no debate when I slide up the ground shake. I get cake and my pockets got that big money face. Niggas hate, I pull up, they get that little kid face. Why you mad? You sad? Oh well, nigga hate. They be pouting, my paint be wetter than a fountain and I'm floating. Got me sitting higher than a mountain, playing boasting. Playing some of that old shit, old E47 way. Doing my thing, never gonna stop, repping the bay. Okay, no matter where I stay, nigga, I slide up and I'm slapping. Like Too Short, bitch, I can't stop rapping. And I tell you in your face, I can't hear shit thanks to that everlasting bass.
Yeah, you know you hear nigga. Bass beating like a motherfucker. Pull up, I know you see a nigga. All them niggas be scheming like a motherfucker. Yeah, you know I got it, nigga. They know my shit slap when I'm out.
What is it?
44 still the hottest, nigga. My bass on head as soon as I ride out.
Me and DJ Head at our home away from home in that fat G-Wagon, chatting on my phones. I'm calling them my niggas, it's time to get it rippin'. Got my 9 milli in case these pussies get to trippin'. Never slip, 10 toes to the pavement. Besides my barber, can't another nigga fade me. It's crazy, you think an earthquake. 2 false gate amps can make the fucking earth shake. JL woofers, W6s, subtract these niggas, double the bitches, third of the problems, triple the money. I feel my tank while it's running, keep my eye in these streets and keep my pockets filled with hundreds. Looking for a thought bitch that's trying to get scummy. Before I stick, I'ma lick the twat. 2 times for Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, you know you hear nigga. Bass beating like a motherfucker. Pull up, I know you see a nigga. All them niggas be scheming like a motherfucker. Yeah, you know I got it, nigga. They know my shit slap when I'm mob out. bass on head as soon as I ride out.
My bass on hit when I slide through. Bet I can take your chick when I slide through. Been winning, was killing niggas in high school. Still on that same ball shit, but now it's times two. Me and my niggas hit the bar, got another sip. Got Fabby in the cut, he on another bitch. Me and Nutz finna blow, we tryin' do it big. We grab them hoes from the show and they know who it is. I been getting bitches cause my bass blow. They tryin' take my pictures cause my tape go. She want me to be the one she finna take home. But that ain't me, baby, I'm the one they gon' hate on. Yup, my amp's new so my subs hitting. Smoking that gas, I say my plug did it. Niggas know I'm about my cake though. They hit me from up the block cause my bass go. Nigga.
Yeah, you know you hear nigga. Bass beating like a motherfucker. Pull up, I know you see a nigga. All them niggas be scheming like a motherfucker. Yeah, you know I got it, nigga. They know my shit slap when I'm mob out. We still the hottest, nigga. My bass on head as soon as I ride out.
Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Make sure you download our app on iTunes. I'm now politicking with my homie Cool Nutz. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How you doing, fam?
I'm great, man. That kind of didn't roll off my tongue right. Cool Nutz. Threw me out. But I was reading your background, your bio and everything. So I read that you're a Portland legend, been doing your thing for 20 years. So I just kind of want you to just go over the resume a little bit for anybody that might not be too familiar with you.
Basically, we started out doing hip hop, in the 90s. Me and my boy Bosco, the producer. So it started out with breakdancing. Then it breakdancing kind of faded out. Then it went into the MCing and DJing and producing. So Bosco started producing. I kind of became the rapper. And then from there, doing it in Portland, we didn't have no blueprint, didn't have no examples except for a group called the U Crew that had kind of came before us. And they had a couple songs that were big, called You Ugly and If You Were Mine. So they were kind of the example. They were kind of the example of hip hop success. So with the Bay being so close, we kind of like started to build our thing off of the Bay in terms of from the independent side, like, E40 and them, Drew Down, Too Short, Mac Dre and all of them. We kind of followed the script of, if nobody else is going to put your record out, you put it out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to make the transition from deciding if we were going to do it as a hobby or do it for real. So we pressed up our first cassette tapes and put them in stores. People started buying them and stuff like that, and kind of started moving on its own. So we kind of started to have a place as kind of a strong representative of Portland hip hop, and that was really the beginning. Bosco had moved to LA. He was going to USC and on an academic scholarship, but ended up walking on the basketball team. He played with Harold Miner and Robert Pack and all them guys at USC. So I would go out there to LA and we would record music out there. He ended up doing the theme song for the theme song you hear for In Living Color is him on there. So that was kind of the beginning of our serious experience in the music business.
So how's the Portland scene now, the hip hop scene out there?
I mean, it's definitely grown. It's grown. You've had different artists come out of here, like Lifesavers, who were from Portland and on Quantum Projects. You had acts like, Five Fingers of Funk. And then currently, of course, you got Amine. You got a few other different people like Mike Bogan, Mike Capes, Mikey Vegas, and a number of other artists that are kind of pushing the line for Portland.
Yeah, I've been saying then, as far as you, because I was looking at like your old album covers, So it kind of like you kind of changed a little bit because to me it seemed like you was kind of like more raw back then. Like kind of remind me kind of like you saying like Mac Dre, like the Bay, and the music kind of sound the same too. Like it was real like gangster.
Yeah, I mean, because you gotta think like we essentially came up in the 80s, 86 through 90 something. When you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, no, but basically we came up in the through the crack era, the gang banging, like we were here when gang banging first started. So like when gang banging first came to Portland, the Crips and the Bloods, that was like when we was in high school. When crack came in and like really like took a grip on Portland, a hold on Portland. That was I watched our cats, my homies' parents, like our homies' parents smoking and doing stuff like that, and even us being out in the streets hustling and everything like that. So that was our real experience. You know what I mean? Like it was that the Portland in the late 80s and 90s was like an explosion of what LA was seeing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so the music was representative of that, because not only was that what we were hearing, that's what we were out here living, was low riders, being on the block, and of course we're still being productive, like going to school, having jobs and stuff like that. But sometimes it's all around you, so you end up intertwining into it.
That's what's up. And I was also reading that you're an entrepreneur, so I just want you to talk about your businesses.
So basically, with us having to kind of take the same blueprint as the Bay, we had to, we started our own record label, which was Just Family Records. We were promoting our own shows. So with Just Family Records, that was a label with me and Bosco. It started with me and him, then we ended up signing artists. So we started out with like a group called Gism. They were like kind of like an Outcast. If you go check them out, it's G-ISM. They were like an Outcast, like speaking a lot on streets, political stuff, like a mixture between Outkast and Tupac kind of. Then we had Maniac Loke. He was more like a Sibo. And then we had Kenny Mack. He was more like kind of in between like a Mac Dre and Drew Down. And so that was the label. We started the label. We started putting out records, started selling records. Then we got to a point where the alternative rock scene is real popular out here. So we were watching them put on shows and promote shows. So then we started promoting our own shows, doing, getting the venues, putting up the posters, doing all that. Then we created a thing called the Portland Hip Hop Festival, called PoHop. I had a brother come to me, and he saw what I was doing with the music, because at this time, like, we were like essentially we were like the like Ruthless Records of Portland in terms of the visibility, the impact we were having, the notoriety in terms of people seeing what we were doing. He came to me, was like, yo, I see that you're out here representing, the community. I got an idea for you. Let's do this thing called PoHop, Portland Oregon Hip Hop Festival. And it will be a show where we put, we bring the hip hop scene together, put all the artists on one stage. And so we started with one night. And that first year we did like 500-600 people. Then the second year we did 2 nights. We did like 800 people the first night, 1,000 people the second night. And it was all Portland hip hop. And so people started seeing what I was doing in terms of putting on shows. Then they started reaching out to me to help them put on shows or help promote shows or help market it, So from there, I started getting calls from different entities like, Live Nation, House of Blues, AEG, and bigger promotion companies, because they saw that we could put people in the building. And even from there, I started doing stuff with, but also in between there, there was record deals with Atlantic Records, record deals with Universal Records. So all through there, we were also building on a bigger level of connecting with the Bay. I started doing, we started doing more stuff with E40. We started doing more stuff with Mac Dre. We started doing stuff with Ian Too Deep. Selly Sell, Be Legit, and some of those cats, Mr. Fab, and some of those cats started seeing what we were doing. So they would hit me and be like, yo, Nutz, can you book a tour out here for us? So I started booking tours for them, booking shows for E40, booking shows for Too Short. And eventually it got to a point where even with 40, like 40 would hit me up and be like, yo, come tour manage this tour, work with my managers at the time, who was Chaz, and then RJ came on. But through all of those different situations, it just progressed into people. It progressed into people seeing what I was doing, people seeing the work that I was putting in and the moves I was making, to where it created different ventures for me.
Yeah, I say. And what advice would you give to anybody that's trying to like get in the game from that angle, like far as like more on the business tip and not as a rapper?
I would say realistically, get around the people that are doing it. So like I had a number of like club owners, promoters that basically kind of took me under their wing and like, gave me the opportunity to book 1,500 capacity venues and work on shows with them and learn different skills of how to go out and book a show, run a venue, produce a show, go get insurance, understand the ticketing, understanding booking a tour bus and different stuff like that. And so I would just say get with people that understand what you're doing. Get with people that want to do it, that are already doing what you're doing. Be an intern or get a mentor in that field.
And then what advice would you give to a rapper trying to, like a up and coming rapper? What advice would you give to them?
Man, I would say first and foremost, you got to have something that's unique with your skill or your talent. Second, you got to want to work hard. And third, you got to be realistic about what this business and industry is like nowadays, because it's a lot different than when we came in. When we came in, you actually had to be, like when we started putting out records, you could invest 10, 20,000 in a record and know you were going to sell, 4,000 or 5,000 CDs guaranteed. Nowadays, you put $10,000 in a record, it's going on iTunes and Spotify, and it might just sit there. You know what I mean? So having a real understanding of the business, having an understanding of how this industry works now, and being realistic, like the money ain't just gonna fall out the sky. You got to get out there and hustle and get to it. And that was a thing for me that set me apart even early on, was like I would be out, man, at 3 a.m. with a bag over my shoulder, with a staple gun and a bag full of posters, putting up posters at 3 a.m. For my shows, for my albums, and doing it myself.
And then what current projects you working on right now as far as the music?
First, I got this EP that I'm putting out called Terrance, which some of the new songs we put out, the video for Terrance we put on there, the new one we just dropped, What You Think I'm On with Illmaculate and Mr. Fab. That's gonna be on the EP. Then I got Nipsey Hussle on there, of course Bosco, my nephew Dre Steez. He's one of the like hot young rappers from out here, like really holding it down for like kind of in the lane of like where you see like the Mozzies and the SOBs and cats like that. Like he's that young dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we got a number of young cats out here like that, like that are pushing the line for the youngsters. But then the next record I got is the full album called Pig Ears and Chitlins.
Why you named it that?
Because right now,
I know there's a reason behind it.
the reason I named it that was because like right now in Portland and in like a number of communities, black communities across the country, there's a lot of gentrification. And we grew up in a neighborhood that was northeast Portland. So northeast Portland is predominantly where, north and northeast Portland are predominantly where all the black people lived and we all grew up. And you have a lot of that changing and the city's changing and a lot of black people are being displaced to having to live further out. So the reason I called the album that is because if you grew up in a real black household, even if you didn't eat chitlins and pig ears and stuff like that, you knew that when New Year's came, when Thanksgiving came, when Christmas came, and people said, grandma cooking some chitlins or auntie cooking some chitlins, that had meaning to it in terms of in Black culture. It meant we getting together. It's going, your
Yeah, it's
uncle,
on.
your uncle's going to be over there talking crazy. And even, like I said, even if you didn't eat chitlins or pig ears, you knew when we talked about them foods, what that meant. It meant community. It meant family. It meant being at grandma's house. And that's why I named it that, because we as a people, certain things are synonymous to us in terms of coming together, in terms of being together. And like I said, like even some of my partners who don't eat pork, when I said, I'm naming the album Pig Ears and Chitlins, and the first thing they'll say is, man, I remember going over to my grandma's house and I was like chitlins, and I didn't eat them, but I remember, man, we used to get together, and there's a lot of memories and meaning to that, especially within our culture. You know what I'm saying?
And then what are some of your interests outside of music?
I mean, truth be told, like outside of music, man, is really like raising my, my kids. I got a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old. So raising my kids, and I got an older daughter too, but she's grown, but so she don't fall under the thing of raising her. It's just really tapping in with her. But raising my kids, man, and spending time with my family and enjoying watching them progress and making sure that they got what they need. You know what I mean? And fortunately, music has been a means for me to do that for them. So, they kind of intertwine. Just like my daughter, she went to this Black Girls Rock camp, and she didn't even know that they had got a bunch of us Black men together in the community and did these video clips of why Black girls rock or why Black women are important to us. And my daughter went to the thing, and she didn't even know I was on there. And so the video came on, and all her friends was like, "Oh, that's Cool Nutz." But it all crosses over into the family, the music, and all. It all comes together. So that outside of the music, like really, that's my family, man, and really trying to enjoy my life and be positive, and also like I do music programs at the community center, recording. We recorded a whole project with the juvenile youth center out here, where we went into jail and brought the studio in there, recorded a whole album with them. So we're putting that out. Then we did another project with the youth center here called SEI, and the kids all recorded music, and we putting a project out with them too. So just trying to, man, really honestly do the best I can to give back and be a inspiration to within our community and leave a positive mark on stuff.
And then do you think that's important for like, cause I don't know, I think a lot of rappers don't, it's like a disconnect. They don't think that's important. Do you think it's important for rappers to give back like that to the community?
Hell yeah, because I mean, another thing is, man, like even with some of my earlier music, and I know you listen to it, like the music we were putting out back then, it had a lot more, it had meaning to it in terms of even about the streets and stuff like that. And nowadays, some of this music and the culture is can be so ignorant that we got to be responsible for making sure that we pushing the right messages out there. That we giving them some intellect. Like if we talking about the streets, also talk about going to jail, talk about the impact of that, talk about the nights when when some of your partners got killed, how that really felt, or how now your partner's kids ain't got no dad, and the real impact of that stuff. So it's definitely important for us to do all we can in terms of like leaving a positive message and being some a role model of somewhat to these kids, because just even the stuff that they seeing and hearing nowadays is crazy.
So, and who's your top 5 rappers?
My top 5 rappers, I would say Jay-Z, of course. I would say Nas. I would say E40. Of course, Tupac is in there. Biggie's in there too. But then there's a bunch of other people too that I feel like the Scarfaces, even like MC8, man, and Compton's Most Wanted, like
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube, you know what I'm saying? Rakim,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say, just like you were saying earlier, like all those rappers and like 8Ball, MJG, UGK, they all, like you saying, you gotta always, you can say the good side of the game, but you gotta say the bad side. You gotta like put some knowledge in your music, like something
Yeah,
they can learn. Even if it's on the street level, you can still drop knowledge. And I think a lot of people like now, all they talking about is like drugs and mollies, and they're not putting any positivity in their music at all. Like you gotta say some, like you can say some bullshit, but then throw something in there.
yeah, because a bad part of it is you could be riding in the car with your kids, man, and Molly Percocet come on the radio, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, pull your panties to the side, or eat the booties like groceries. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, sad.
You know, and that's the radio. That's on the radio.
And what would you like to say to all your fans and people that have been supporting your career so far for the last 20 plus years, huh? More than 20 years, huh?
I just really like. I just want to say to anybody that ever purchased the music, came to the shows, bought some merch, or even passed a positive word about what I do out to people, I appreciate all them people, because when I started doing music, man, I didn't know a lot of this stuff was possible, you know, in terms of like traveling overseas, going to Europe, going to Japan, going to shoot Alaska in the winter. It's negative 40 degrees, and we out there with E40 and Mr. Fab doing shows. Like, all of those people made it possible for me to even do what I do, you know, in terms of like seeing the world, feed my family, and even just making a contribution to this culture, you know, or having a mark to the point where 20 years later, I'm talking to you. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, man? So I want to say thank you for coming through politicking with me.
No, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on.
Is there anything we didn't cover you like to talk about? It sounded like you was kind of getting, I heard you when you was talking about the gentrification and everything. It sounded like you was getting hype. You good?
Oh, yeah, man, because the reason I get hyped, because a lot of that, like our culture and our community, was stuff that made us and where the music came from. Like, a lot of the stuff that I talk about on my albums is stuff that is unique to our city, to our community, to our neighborhoods, and it made us. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff has soul to it and real meaning to it. So it's when you go.
I would say I was reading. I don't know if this is true. It was on your Wikipedia, but I was reading that you work with Krishan. So how you feel about her?
I mean, the thing is, I have a different perspective with her, because the thing is with her is because she caught a lot of flack for the stuff V Nasty said.
Yeah.
So because, and this is another story I can tell you. So how I got with Krayshawn, or working with Krayshawn, was my boy Stretch, who manages Run the Jewels. He manages Burner, Saves the Gemini, HBK and all them. We were in Montana on tour with me, him, and Mr. Fab, and we're in the car, and he was playing me some of V Nasty, and I'm like, man, is she serious? He's like, oh yeah, she's serious. And so he goes, oh yeah, she also got a sister named Krayshawn, and they're not really sisters, but they close. So he was like, she got a sister named Krayshawn. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So about like months later, Gucci comes out, and I see the video. I'm like, oh, that's dope. And so before this, on top of rapping, I had, tour managed for E40, help run tours with Tech Nine and all them. And so he was like, yo, Krayshawn stuff is popping. You want to tour manage for her? And I'm like, hell yeah, it's like family, you know what I mean? Because that's my dude, you know what I'm saying? And so I end up tour managing for her. We went all over the world. And the thing is, people don't understand with her is she's truly a good person. Like, she took care of a lot of people and put a lot of people in position. And through all that, she caught a lot of flack, because I was behind the scenes. Like, she wasn't like your typical rapper. Like, you're not going to walk in the room and see her writing a song and with headphones on. She's more like a creative, you know what I'm saying? Like, she know how to edit videos and make jewelry and all type of stuff like that. So you got a better understanding of what she was, but then you have V Nasty, who of course was, catching. Basically, a lot of times people would put it on Krayshawn about saying nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so she would catch a lot of flack behind V Nasty saying nigga. And the problem is with V Nasty is really from East Oakland. If you run into her, she's with,
niggas.
she's with niggas, bro, for real. Like, I've taken her to pick up trap money. You feel me? Like, we finna go on tour. Cool Nutz, can you take me to the Western Union to get this trap money that she, you know what I'm saying? So it was one of them things where when you around her, you see like she really is around and entrenched in all of that. But of course, it's gonna rub people the wrong way because you don't want to hear that coming from somebody that you look, that's white, period. And so Krayshawn would catch a lot of flack from all the stuff V Nasty was saying and doing, but that wasn't her doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would say, what was your social media and everything so they can follow you and stuff?
Everything is at Cool Nutz, CoolNutz, CoolNutz. The Snapchat is King Cool Nutz. Facebook is Cool Nutz. Just if you just go you go Google me, it'll all pop up.
Then final thing, you got a radio show too, right? I want you to plug.
Yeah, we got two radio shows actually. We got Friday nights on Jammin' 107.5 here in Portland on iHeartRadio. I got playlists with me and CJ McCullum from the Blazers. We do that every Friday night, and we co-host the show, program the music, talk about sports. Then I do the Breakout Show, which is all centered around independent music from the region and then bigger records from like stuff you won't hear on our station typically. And that's Sunday nights called the Breakout Show. And that was another venture too that in terms of our music scene, I put together a proposal for the Breakout Show, which to spotlight Northwest music. I took it into CBS Radio. They liked it. They put us on the air, and then CBS got bought out by Clear Channel. They liked the show, so then they gave us 2 hours, and now I'm on Sunday nights 3 hours, and we spotlight independent music, especially from the Northwest, but then all of like Rick Ross, Jay-Z, Action Bronson, of course, Kendrick and Schoolboy, all the stuff our station typically, doesn't play.
And then what advice would you give to anybody trying to build a radio station? Or like me, like somebody just trying to grow on the radio tip?
Man, I would say the main thing is like you start out, because I started in community radio. I started out at a station called Cable, which was community radio. I had a show that was 2:30 to 5:30 a.m. You know what I'm saying? I'd be at the board, bro, falling asleep, man, dozing off. And I just gained experience there. Took that experience, and a lot of the time it's just coming up with an idea or something that's going to be tangible to a bigger radio entity. Or another way to really jumpstart your radio is getting on the street team or internship at a station. And then that all, if you down, I've seen my program director, he's a program director, young dude. I think he's like 30, might be like 34, 35. I remember when he started on the street team, bro, like 15 years ago on the street team. Now he's the program director of my station and another station in Seattle.
But then how do you feel like far as like the radio, is it still like big as it is? Vice, because a lot of people podcast and everything like that. Is it still the same?
I feel like mainstream radio, it still has an influence in terms of like people digesting music and people like tuning in to win tickets and things of that nature. Some of it is shifted because of the podcast, because of streaming, because of like Spotify and the popularity of SoundCloud. But radio is still an integral piece of the puzzle in terms of breaking records and further, like an artist can get a buzz on SoundCloud. An artist can get a buzz and get moving on Spotify. And then once they get to a certain level, now they start hitting the radio and doing the promo runs and all of that stuff to supplement and bring all the bigger pieces together. Like, Lil Yachty, Uzi Vert, they could be popping on the net, but then once they hit that next gear, then now they're going to be on the Breakfast Club. Now they're going to be on, Hot 97 with Ebro and all of that stuff.
All right, y'all. So we out. Make sure y'all subscribe and share this interview. Peace.
PoPolitickin.com.
At my best and my worst, she would love me first. Love me first. Love me first. At my best and my worst, she would love me first. Love me first. Love me first. At my best and my worst, she would love me first. Love me first. Love me first. At my best and my worst, she would love me first. Love me first, love me first. From my best to my worst, she was always right there. If I hit rock bottom, she would be right there. In Magic City nights, kick back like a blur. With titties in my face and she was still right there. We love hard, go hard, there's still no limits. Jail time, cell time, she'll make those visits. My earth, my world, my highs, my lows, the peaks, the valleys, let's find that balance. Brought life to the world, my sights on the world. From the white sands of now we live life in this world. We prosper together, feel losses together, and find my shortcomings so I can love you better. Felt the bumps in the road, ain't none of us perfect, and really work through it when the hard times surface. You love with a purpose and build that structure and work through the pain and sometimes suffer. Let's go.
And my worst, she will love me first.
Love me first, love me first.
Never to forsake for another.
Love me first, love me first.
At my best and my worst, she will love me
Love me
first.
first, love me first.
The dictionary definition of a lover.
Love me first, love me first.
Yeah, in a worst case scenario, I cherish what we had. They said we never last, but here we go. Check our steady flow, we surpass. Most of flick a flash, go to this and that. We the sinners in the side, what's the realest where the feelings at? You the definition of the deafest misses. Never get it twisted, how we came into this grand existence. Is it clear to you? We the rarest few, it's not a mystery. I hella knew, kinda had a clue. Yeah, I fucked a few, yeah, that happened too. That was casual, now you show me that a real man shit is hard, it's collapsible. I said at home, miserable, not accustomed to miracles, but it's pleasurable to put our love on the pedestal. Yes.
Love me first, love me first.
Never to forsake for another.
Love me first, love me first.
At my best and my worst, she will love me
Love me
first.
first, love me first.
The dictionary definition of a lover.
Love me first, love me first.
We've been down since kids, hope it'll never change. Still the same, still playing Clark Kent, Lois Lane. Cause of my games, future disappearing like David Blaine. All in my brain, mama told me like Dana Dane. Stay in your lane, don't change for the groupies of fame. Make up, then we fuck until we break up the frame. Not saying who wrong, who right. It's all out of spite. Let's take an overseas flight tonight to change the scenery. You and me, we can be London sipping high tea. Plus you hold me down, that's why a nigga made your wifey. Had to smarten up to see the beauty right in front of me. Been there since before the V, most importantly.
At my best and my worst, she will love me first.
Love me first, love me first.
Never to forsake for another.
Love me first, love me first.
At my best and my worst, she will love me
Love me
first.
first, love me first.
The dictionary definition of a lover.
Love me first, love me first.
If it all comes burning down, fire, ashes, dust, she'll be there to hold me down. Loyalty and trust, see we laid that real foundation. Cement, rocks and steel, then we come back better, stronger. This how it's supposed to feel.
At my best and my worst, she will love me
Love me
first.
first, love me first.
Never to forsake for another.
Love me first, love me first.
At my best and my worst, she will love me
Love me first, love me first.
The dictionary definition of a lover.
Love me first, love me first.
Thanks for listening to PoPolitickin.com, a self-help meets hip-hop brand. If you are an artist or business owner wanting to be featured on PoPolitickin.com, contact us at PoPolitickin@gmail.com. That's PoPolitickin@gmail.com or text 760-717-5803. If you're a listener that enjoys the show and wants to support, you can donate to PoPolitickin.com via PayPal.com. Please send donations to PoPolitickin@gmail.com. Any amount will be helpful in continuing to create quality content and shows. As always, check out PoPolitickin.com for past episodes. Make sure you subscribe to PoPolitickin on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play.